So again, welcome, a warm welcome from my side. I'm here in the International Data Spaces head office in Dortmund, welcoming you to this live session, which is facilitated and organized by the TRUSTS project. The TRUSTS project, Trusted Secure Data Sharing Spaces, is a project under the Horizon 2020 program, and it aims to develop a data sharing platform for secure, trustworthy, and GDPR compliant data exchanges, and to embed this platform into data ecosystems. And I'm very happy that with us we have Alexandra Garatzogianni, who is the coordinator of this project, of this TRUSTS project from University of Hannover. Welcome, Alexandra. And before I hand over to you, Alexandra, let me briefly introduce the lineup of today's speakers. We have with us Gianna Avgousti from eBos Technologies. It's one of the beneficiaries within the TRUSTS project. And Gianna will give us details about one use case in the financial industry, because the title of today's live session is Trusts in the Financial Industry, Enabling Data Sovereignty Beyond Existing Solutions. So obviously it is about anything which is important in the financial industry. Then we have two other speakers, Dr. Christos Roupas and from Relational, and George Kostopoulos from Piraeus Bank. But we had some issues to connect them to our live session. So we will see, maybe in the runtime they will join us. Until now, they have not appeared. But this is not a big issue because our lineup is so good and so broad. And then I will finally introduce you to Benjamin Heitmann. Benjamin Heitmann from Frauhofer Institute FIT is the technical coordinator or the technical lead within the TRUSTS project, and will give us at the end of the session an explanation about the technical issues which are related to data sovereignty and sovereign data exchange in the TRUSTS project. Okay, so I just heard in the panel that there might be already Christos or George. Hello.
It's Christos. Hello. Thank you. Thank you very much, Thorsten, for the introduction. Hi.
Hello, Christos. Okay, nice that you join us. So I think we can just go ahead, and I will hand over to Alexandra. And Alexandra will give us a brief introduction about the TRUSTS project as such. And I would ask the other panelists also to mute, because then we do not have any disturbing sounds.
Sure. Thank you very much, Thorsten. It's a great pleasure to be here with the IDSA community and to present our project TRUSTS. Sorry, somehow my presentation got hidden now. So let me minimize the window. Okay. Yep, going backwards. So our project TRUSTS started this January. It has a 3-year duration, and it is coordinated by the Leibniz University of Hannover and myself. We have a very rich and diverse consortium that consists of partners that bring unique capabilities. In this webinar, of course, we have our colleagues from IDSA hosting the webinar, and also we will be discussing about the role of IDSA in TRUSTS. At the same time, we have our colleague Benjamin from Frauhofer FIT that will showcase how the work in TRUSTS is aligned with the IDSA standards. As this webinar focuses more on the finance sector and our role in that specific use case, we have with us our colleague Gianna from eBos, our colleague Christos from Relational, and our colleague George from Piraeus Bank. Moreover, I would like to add that the TRUSTS consortium has a wide profile of competencies, because we really invest time and effort to investigate and implement all aspects that are very important to ensure the commercial and business uptake of the solutions of the TRUSTS platform. So now we are in a crisis with COVID, and of course, I think that in times of crisis, we should be proactive and we should think forward and find solutions that will spur economic growth and create opportunities, such as job creation. I think that data markets are a very promising technology and have really a lot of potential to enable job creation and, of course, the advancement of Europe globally in terms of technological innovation. Currently, it can be stated that data markets are focusing more on personal data, and this, of course, has some limitations. It is sure that personal data are highly valuable and many insights can be derived, but I think that we have to work more with industrial data and commercial data that bring a lot of value, and to develop products that address real market needs and, of course, can be sustainable and successful. So in Trusts, we are trying to address the current limitations of that data markets face nowadays by working with industrial and personal data. At the same time, in Trusts and in Europe, more specifically, we have a rich and diverse framework consisting of many countries, and each country has its own regulations, for example, in terms of technical elements, various legal frameworks. So this, of course, could also hamper the growth of the economy, and we are trying to find solutions to address this within the project. So Trusts is further building on the lessons learned and experience of two large national projects, namely Data Market Austria and IDSA. So we are not reinventing the wheel from the start. We are rather reinforcing trust in data markets by further building on lessons learned. So in the case of Trusts, we want to develop a GDPR compliant European data marketplace that works with and for industrial and personal data. So Trusts per se and its platform will act independently and at the same time as a platform federator that enables the integration and adoption of future platforms. For this regard, we are also investigating right from the start of the project the business and legal as well as ethical angles that are very important to be considered to ensure successful uptake of technological solutions. So the vision of Trust to position itself as a GDPR compliant European data marketplace will be validated and tested in 3 business use cases. More specifically in the financial and telecom operator industries. And for example, in this webinar today, we will be discussing more about the financial use cases within the context of Trusts. When it comes to innovation, Trusts, of course, has a very heavy technical component. For example, we are working and providing secure data services. We are leading cut-of-the-edge implementation when it comes to working with secure protocols and privacy-sensitive data. And of course, when it comes to data sharing and federation. At the same time, the innovation of Trusts also is in terms of ensuring sustainable business uptake of technological solutions. For example, we are leading cutting-edge research when it comes to the legal and ethical frameworks, and of course, when it comes to the business angles, for example, business modeling, as well as analysis that ensures sustainability. Now, speaking about the business use cases of Trusts, which we will be discussing today in this webinar, our first use case is focused on anti-money laundering. Then we also focus on agile marketing and, of course, data acquisition for customer support, this including robo-advisors, as well as other very innovative technologies. Thus, it can be argued that the impact of Trusts can be twofold in terms of new state-of-the-art technologies and, of course, in the business sector when it comes to working with the uptake of technology and taking measures in advance at commercial level, legal level, and all other levels that are relevant and should be considered. So that being said, the vision of TRUSTS is to create this environment which is transparent, fair, in which all the stakeholders are accountable and which can further spur the growth of the economy and will actively motivate and engage important stakeholders such as companies, SMEs, innovators, investors, to develop new products and services that address real customer needs. Of course, at the same time, the rights of European consumers and citizens will be safeguarded and protected. So that is from my side an overview of the project. Of course, please make sure to follow us on social media. And if you have questions, please feel free to contact me directly. And I'm happy to give the floor back to you, Thorsten, and to hear more about our finance use cases.
Thank you. Thank you, Alexandra. Thank you so much for giving this overview on the TRUSTS project. And before I hand over to Gianna, let me just explain why there is another project mentioned in the introductory slide. Of course, I forgot this, sorry for this. It is the OpenDI project, Open Digitizing European Industry. It is a coordinating and support action, which is, well, helping the European Commission in several issues, including aligning reference architectures on digital platforms. And obviously, when we are talking about data markets and about the TRUSTS platform, this has to do as well with aligning reference architectures, and therefore the OpenDI project is also cooperating with TRUSTS and with IDSA in facilitating these live sessions. So this is what I forgot to explain. And now it's time to have a focus or to focus on the use cases and the domain expertise from the financial industry. And I'm very happy that we have Gianna Avgousti with us from eBos Technologies. Yes, Gianna, we are looking forward to your input. And I think you will briefly introduce eBos as such and how eBos is acting in TRUSTS and what different activities are and technologies are used there. Gianna, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Thorsten. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Alexandra, for the short introduction. My name is Gianna. Everyone can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, my name is Gianna, as I said. I am representing eBos Technologies as one of the 17 partners in the project. 1 second, sorry. Yeah, we are going to have a look together in the first use case of the 3 of the project, which is the anti-money laundering use case. So we're first going to have a look on the company overview as we are leading this use case, and then we'll have a look on the definition of money and anti-money laundering, along with today's requirements for anti-money laundering compliance. I'm next going to introduce you to the existing software solution. 1 second, sorry. What am I? 4th point. Which is the WiseBoss Enterprise Resource Planning and 2 of its modules, and how are these 2 components relate to TRUST and this use case. Finally, we're going to have a look on the, yes. Okay, next slide. So eBos. eBos Technologies, as said, is one of the 17 partners in the TRUST project. The company was established in 2003 in Nicosia, the capital of this beautiful island called Cyprus. eBos is an innovative and client-focused information technology company, providing technological advanced and innovative e-business software solutions to customers worldwide. Due to our passion for innovation, we also invest a significant percentage of our budget and resources to research and development. We have a current portfolio of 28 projects of participation, and which 15 projects are active as we speak. The knowledge and innovation gained from the projects are used and implemented into our products and services. Our core areas of expertise, which are constantly applied in our contribution to the several projects, include cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, web applications, digital innovation in general, exploitation strategies, website design and development, intelligent dashboards, and many more. Our success in the research and development department is also complemented by grant writing and proposal management skills. So let's have a look and understand now money laundering, which is the main point of our use case. Money laundering in general is the process of illegal movement of money to hide its original source. Money gained basically through illegal or criminal activities with the purpose to hide them or mix them with legally earned money. Money laundering is considered as a white-collar crime, drug trafficking, cash smuggling, gambling venues, trade-based laundering, etc. In recent years, money laundering and financial crime have forced compliance professionals to develop and apply smarter approaches and procedures to anti-money laundering. Anti-money laundering compliance now is a global concern. Fighting money laundering contributes to global security, integrity of the financial system, and sustainable growth. Anti-money laundering seeks to prevent criminals by making it harder for them to hide illegal money. The European Union's fourth anti-money laundering directive is the requested actions and procedures against money laundering that came into force in June 17. It requires financial institutions, banks, professional industries, stock exchanges, real estate to comply with and to monitor customers' transactions and report any suspicious financial activity. Screening is a critical first step. It is the process of customers' background check against global watch lists, sanctions, and politically exposed persons to identify and eliminate any efforts of money laundering. Then we have the implementation of the Know Your Customer procedure to reduce their risk and to identify their customer and their risk assessment to identify their risk level and apply a more accurate anti-money laundering control. So we're going now to see how and in what means is this now happening. For banks and the professionals and businesses to be anti-money laundering compliant is a primary source of risk prevention. Most of them have, to a large extent, now automated their procedures. The priority has fallen into the anti-money laundering policy based on a secure sharing database. For companies and anti-money laundering compliance professionals, this solution based on a secure sharing database, it is necessary in order to assist the compliance officer. The compliance officer is the one who ensures that the company complies with the legal requirements as well as internal policies and bylaws. Then we have the benefits. The benefits of that anti-money laundering compliant, of being anti-money laundering compliant, is to minimize exposure to financial fraud and terrorism, financial activities, and to prevent fines and losses if not compliant. Therefore, the need for digitalized solution and provision of efficient and more effective risk-based compliance capability is assisting institutions to maintain and fulfill regulatory compliance, determining the risk level and mitigating the risks associated with the onboarding and monitoring of their customers, and certainly minimizing exposure to financial fraud. This is where trust and anti-money laundering use case vision and eBos anti-money laundering, which is the eBos solution, fits into the picture. We basically propose a new data-driven approach to anti-money laundering, an innovative solution based on past data, artificial intelligence, and machine learning technologies to increase fraud detection and reduce false positives and therefore increase true positives. Data sharing and trading platforms such as the TRUSTS platform represent an opportunity to securely share and trade data for anti-money laundering purposes, and as a result, to maximize operational effectiveness while maintaining or reducing costs. Now, we have the product as said. eBos Enterprise Resource Planning is our core offering as a company. To the project as well as to the market. As previously said, it is our advanced all-inclusive software set, which was specifically designed to adapt to the constantly changing and increasing business needs. It is supporting companies and their compliance officers to achieve their goals, having under its umbrella 8 different modules that can manage corporate administration, risk analysis, anti-money laundering compliance, and much more. On behalf of Trust now, we are going to make use of 2 of these modules, the risk intelligence, scoring and compliance module, and the screening module. The risk module is a uniquely all-in-advance innovatory solution that provides basically more efficient and more effective risk-based compliance capabilities. It assists professionals, financial and non-financial institutions to meet and comply with the anti-money laundering laws and regulations. As we can see from the outer circle of the figure on the screen, it is a dynamic rule-based engine observing activities, detecting and investigating documents or suspicious cases through a wide range of approachable user interface. And it is then producing significant monitoring reports. It is fully compliant to the latest EU directive, and it is fully upgradable to support any future anti-money laundering directives as well. In the inner circle, we can see that it is maintaining and fulfilling administrative compliance, determining, rating, justifying, and assessing the risks and the risk levels of existing and prospecting clients through intelligent risk assessment approach. It also assists on the completion of their know your customer profiles and documents. Also many more. All this makes it a perfect future-proof solution for compliance teams to effectively comply with the associated anti-money laundering laws and regulations. Equally, eBos screening is one of the most widespread sophisticated customer screening solutions in the market. It provides all organizations concerned with anti-money laundering and compliance the technology to efficiently prevent criminal infiltration into the financial system and delivers intelligent customer screening in the fastest manner. As we can see as well on the figure, it is integrated with the world's largest risk-relevant database provided by our partner IDSA that provides coverage for more than 240 countries and processes data from more than 200,000 media sources in several languages. It is capable of screening customers against politically exposed people lists, sanctions lists, adverse or negative media reports, etc. It is also enhanced with machine learning functionalities for more accurate results, delivering ultimate compliance, accuracy, and performance. It improves productivity and nearly eliminates 95% in false positives, therefore increases true positives. Additional features include, as we can see in the yellow circle, direct links to more than 130 worldwide company registers, as well as passport checks for an ultimate guaranteed screening. So let's see now how are these 2 modules related to trust. As we said in the beginning, this use case is regarding anti-money laundering compliance. Mainly, the key purpose of this use case is to develop new artificial intelligent and machine learning techniques and algorithms in order to integrate them basically within the eBos existing eBos model to allow improved analysis to detect money laundering activities and help evolving it into a new generation anti-money laundering data-driven model. Having said that, we're expecting to establish and validate how data shared by the Trust platform can fit into the existing AML solution enhanced with artificial intelligence in order to provide faster and more accurate detection of financial crime and money laundering, and how this enriched data can be securely dealt with or traded via the platform to interested customers or businesses who need to perform anti-money laundering checks. We're expecting that artificial intelligence and machine learning techniques are likely to make a significant and valuable difference in this model. More specifically, we will demonstrate the capabilities of Trust platform as a trusted, secure data sharing space for anti-money laundering purposes. So this is for the first use case of Trust. Thank you for your attention. Any comments or any requirements on the use case, you can find my email here, or you can visit our website and contact us directly. Thorsten, back
Thank
to
you.
you.
Yes, thank you, Gianna. Thank you very much for this very interesting and very good explained use case. And at least for me, as I'm not very familiar with the financial industry, this enlightened also the use of financial industry use cases in trusts environment and especially in the data economy. So I think this was very useful. Thank you very much again. I would say as time is running, we hand over directly to the next use case, and I would ask Christos Roupas from Relational to speak up and to share your input with us. Christos, are you ready?
Yes, thank you, Thorsten. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we see your PowerPoint, and if you start full screen, it should also work.
Okay, just give me a second. So I think now is everything okay, right?
Perfect, yes.
So thank you very much for this very interesting webinar. Thank you very much all, Alexandra for the excellent coordination until today, and all of the other colleagues for assisting in the implementation of the very challenging use cases and specifically use case 3 that I'm going to present right now. So first of all, as all the presentations are following the same, let's say, alignment. I'm going to give you a very brief introduction of Relational, of the company, who is in charge of use case 3 in the TRUSTS project. Relational is an international SME. We are considered to be a software developing company integrator, and we have been founded in Athens since 1995. We are considered to be a big SME. We have offices in several European countries. Our headquarters are, of course, in Greece, in Athens, and we have around 230 employees during this period. Of course, can you see my screen? Because I think something changed here. Yes?
We can see you. Yes, perfect.
Okay. The main aim of the company is to develop its own products, which one of them is also the AroTRON product that participates in the use case 3 implementation, and also has several other products that fall under the area of debt collection, of loan origination, and also software and also business intelligence procedures for big companies. Apart from that, we are also representing big vendors and big software houses in Greece and in Europe in general. I have changed the slide, but I see that there is a small delay in what I'm seeing. You can see now the next slide.
We can see the company with the 1 and 2, Relational and Vision.
Now can you see the number 3?
No, not yet.
Just give me a second. I think that now you can see it.
Yes, now we can see it.
Sorry, the network is not so good. This is why I also switched off my camera. In the company, our main target is to develop business intelligence, data warehouses, data anonymization, and also big data analytic tools for providing value to our clients. Specifically, we do that through the AroTRON product, which will be the main focus of use case 3 within TRUSTS project. So a very small description regarding AroTRON. AroTRON is considered to be a customer-centric collection recovery management solution that can cover all stages of debt collections life cycle, if we can use this word. We have embodied the product with advanced product features. We have also a very advanced decision engine module that help us in the management and in the MIS reporting of the status of the debt collection and the debt decision that needs to be taken in order for a financial institution to collect the open debt and the loans. And also we have a very sophisticated system that can inform the client via emails, via SMS, and of course via phone calls. AroTRON is considered to be one of the market leaders products in Greece. We have implemented in more than 30 countries and also in the biggest financial institutions in Greece. The procedures we are following is to obtain a very specific customer-centric approach, reinforce and make sure that the data is of high quality, identify the data, and help the client and the financial institutions to take decisions and design strategies that can rely in the processing of the beyond mentioned large amounts of data. The system is, of course, maximized for around-the-clock process support, 24 hours per day, and it can be also combined with very complex legal processes in order to reduce the lack of automation that can result from low productivity and low recoveries from the several cases that are close to litigation. Of course, the system has specific selected metrics that can be found online through the platform and there several filters that can help in the data management and also in the contact with the debtors can be applied at any time. And finally, there is also a document automation management system that supports the whole operation. It can provide data and reports in all the common Microsoft Word, Excel documents, and also it can generate also unique code number for every specific project ID and the respective documents that are within the specific ID of specific case. Now, as regards the implementation of AroTRON to the TRUSTS project, as we said before, this is under the use case 3, and the main aim of the TRUSTS use case 3 is to leverage AroTRON through demonstrating the capabilities of the TRUSTS newly developed platform for the creation of a solution, of an out-of-the-box solution that can enable the anonymization and visualization of big financial data that will come from the financial institution that participates in the implementation of this use case and supports AroTRON, which is Alpha Bank, and also through this analysis to advance in new ways of human-computer interaction, which is at least in this specific industry in their infancy, and develop some novel chatbots that through artificial intelligence will help the debt collection procedure and can act as automated assistants in order to help customers to converse regarding the management of their debts. Apart from that, we have also again, I think there is a small network interruption. Apologies for that. The main actors that participate in this use case are Relational, of course. Apart from Relational, we have also Thorsten that will help us in the development and establishment of the new communication channel that will help us link the mobile clients and the end customers and the customer support. And also we have fourth that will help us in the improvement of the user interfaces and of course the analysis of the user experience improvement. Finally, as regards the use case 3 analysis, it is clear that the data that will come from the Alpha Bank and Alpha supporting services will be embedded in the AroTRON product, and also we are going to use existing data that are already analyzed from the AroTRON product. We are going to use this data in order to be able to develop the artificial intelligence algorithms that can be embedded in the existing chatbots that AroTRON already operates, and improve their operation and their functionality. The idea is to enable the onboarding of new potential data, improve the current services that the AroTRON already has, and that these services can help the alpha banks and in general the financial institutions' specific needs, help them understand and use this data in their favor for being able to collect the open debts, and also develop new natural processes so that the debtors can be more efficient in terms of communication with the financial institutions. Finally, under the use case 3 scope, the main focus will be to develop two specific services. The first one would be an automated decision making for the next best action as regards the current debt collection by using the newly developed and proposed artificial intelligent models, and to create an automated communication with debtors by using the improved chatbot technologies and the improved chatbots. The interactions, of course, with the chatbots and the clients will be performed under the light of full utilization of the behavioral identification of the clients, and also by collecting the history of the existing chat and messaging interactions. In order to do that, of course, as we said, we're going to take into account all the necessary actions for the onboarding of the external data. We are going to perform, to create new services for onboarding, analyze and develop metadata discovery catalog and maintenance by adding specific tags to the data so that it can be used at the second level, and develop new models for the service usage and billing, which in our case is very important because there are not such services for the financial industry yet through a data marketplace platform, and respect all the GDPR related certifications and regulations that that the data need to fulfill and follow. And finally, a full performance logging and auditing will take place, and analysis based on the profile of the companies or SMEs and other financial institutions that are using specifically the Trust data marketplace for the data acquisition in order to improve their customer support services will take place. Here we can see the diagram that explains how the services of the services that will be offered through the Trust data marketplace will take place. The anonymization of the data is a first step. The second level is the protection from de-anonymization techniques. Then a data cleansing and validation standardization procedure will take place. Data enrichment, if it's necessary, will be performed, and then the cataloging and monitoring will take place as, let's say, the flow of data from Alpha Bank to Relational will be performed. This is in a nutshell. We can discuss the matter in more details during our panel. Thank you very much, and I'm at your disposal for questions afterwards. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Christos, also from my side, for this rich and detailed overview of this use case. Also, very interesting and very, at least for me, enlightening. Thank you very much. before I hand over to our third panelist from Piraeus Bank, I want again to encourage the participants. If you have any questions which are related to the inputs or also to the project as such, please use the question and answer section in the GoToWebinar tool. And I'm pretty much sure that at the end of the session, we will have a couple of minutes time where I can pick up the questions and ask our panelists to answer. So please, if you have any things to be discussed or any questions, use the chat. So now we have Georgios Kostopoulos from Piraeus Bank in the call. Hello, Georgios, can you hear us?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, now we hear you loud and clear.
That's good. That's good because unfortunately I have a problem with my PC, so I'll try, to do it through my mobile.
Okay.
Let me try first of all if we can see the presentation. I don't know if you can see my presentation.
Yes, we saw it shortly, but it's not in the now. Yes, now we can see it perfectly.
Now you can see it. All right.
Yes.
At least we managed to do it because it's a little bit difficult from the mobile. All right. So my name is George Kostopoulos. I come from Piraeus Bank, which is the biggest bank here in Greece. It's it has more than 4 million customers, which in Greece it means more than 40% of share market. So we are a big bank and we have a lot of data. I would say big data. I am in the customer innovation in the digital business, and actually I'm running all the new things that can be done either for the customer, so it's business oriented, or for the digital innovation. So I would say that this is the reason I'm also part of the whole group of TRUSTS, which is trying to see how data marketplace can work in the future. So I don't know if you see the slide changing.
Yes, we see it.
That's good. So in Piraeus Bank, of course, we are trying to explore the data we have because we have a lot of data. I would say that the banks in general, probably they are the organizations that they have the most data available. It's demographics, it's transactions, it's all the financial products, which are normally dozens, maybe hundreds. It's the behavioral of the customer, and of course it's the new data analysis of financial management. So you can see every month where you buy things, in what categories, where you spend, historical things. So in general, we have quite a lot of data, and of course, all the banks, they want to take advantage of this. But the reality is that if we see all the data we have, at the moment, most of the banks, they run, reporting things with the data, campaigns, marketing campaigns, and other kind of campaigns, the PFM, which is the personal financial management, and different other small things that, or bigger sometimes, that are used from the data that the banks have. Now, the problem is about data marketplace, that it's something new and it has a lot of constraints there. So, for example, it's very difficult to use personal data, and because the regulation and legislation of that, and both because it's personal data and because we have GDPR and all all the things we know, it's very, very difficult to really use them 100%. What we see, at least in Piraeus Bank, is that about the data marketplace, which is the scope of the trust, is that for the banks, data selling is quite far at the moment. It's very difficult for a bank to sell data because of the reason we explained before. But there is a big opportunity for data sharing. So this is actually the reason we are also in the project with Fortinet and Forth, in order to see if this can be successful, and if there are any problems of actually combining two big organizations and having a good result in order to take either business decisions or make marketing campaigns. So if we want, for example, as a business unit, to utilize our data, it's not an easy thing, you know, to go ahead in a bank. So you have to pass from the compliance, you have to take the approval of DPO, IT security, you have to see many details, legal, ethical, that is part also of the trust, searching area, I would say. And after it, you have to see all these. I mean, if you get the approval of the four big departments, we say, after you have to check with the IT development, where is it secure to share this data, and what is secured in part of anonymized data, of course. And after, you have to run this with the analytics and see, you know, what results you have in order to have a business model, I would say, that can give a big competitive advantage for a bank. But what I want to explain from here is that it is very, very difficult to come in the end of this story. So this is something that we are trying to search now. And the data sharing for the banks, which we believe is, the most efficient, I would say, a way to be part of the data marketplace, is that as a big organization with big data, it could collaborate with different and separately, of course, organizations like telecoms, big retail stores, energy, even the governance could be part of that, or other big companies, you know, from abroad. So in the use case 2 in trusts, Piraeus Bank is actually collaborating with a big telecom company, as we said, the Fortinet, and is trying to see what can be actually taking advantage in order to see at the end of the story what results can be there for the bank and for the customer, because the whole idea behind data marketplace is that companies take advantage of big data, but for the I would say final purpose, which is to have a better service or a better product for the customer. So what we want is to see if combining or sharing things with another organization, we can run something that is valuable both for the customer and for the bank. So this is actually the scope of Piraeus Bank being in this project, and I would say I'm very confident and sure that in next years many organizations will try to search this area and to take advantage of their data, because I'll go back my slides, because at least banks have really a lot of data, and at the moment I would say they take advantage not more than 60-70%. So the rest percent, the 30% that is left, maybe is a big value for a bank in the future, and because these days the reality is that the banks, they don't only competitive between other banks, but even with Amazon, with Apple, with big organizations from United States. So hopefully that this works, and hopefully we have good results. And yeah, this is what our ideas here in Piraeus Bank are. So thank you very much, and of course I'm ready for any questions. You can find more information on the website of TRUSTS. So thank you very much.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. And also for accepting the challenge to present and to speak via your mobile phone. I know that this is really demanding, but you made it.
It's not so easy. It's true.
Thank you for this.
Thank you very much.
Okay, again, before I hand over to our next panelist, I want to encourage you as participants, please, if you have any issues, if you have any topics to be discussed, if you have any questions, please use the question and answer section of the GoToWebinar tool. And then we can pick it up in the discussion. Okay, now I want to hand over to Benjamin Heitmann, because he's the technical coordinator and is working for the Institute for Applied Information Technology FIT from Frauhofer. And now it's about, well, the question how we can enable the data protection issues on the one hand side, but also the data sovereignty issues or mechanisms on the other hand side, by embedding the use cases into the architecture of the TRUSTS project and the platform. Benjamin, thank you very much that you are with us, and I hand over to you.
Yeah, so thanks for the introduction. And I'm going to give you a short overview of the most important technical aspects of the TRUSTS project. To start with a description of the data market infrastructure. So what we believe in TRUSTS is that data sovereignty will become a critical success factor for data sharing. So what we mean by that is that data sovereignty right now is not really very well developed, or it's not so clear how to go there, how to get there. And that's why a lot of stakeholders right now are not so clear on the importance of data sovereignty. And that's why the TRUSTS project is very important, because we have that as a primary concern. And so all of the project is geared to enable data sovereignty and to enable it in ways to degrees where it hasn't been enabled so far. TRUSTS then builds on experiences and technology from 2 European data marketplaces that are already existing. And one of them is the International Data Spaces from Germany. And the other is the Data Market Austria project from Austria. The most important novel developments are that approaches for enabling and maintaining data sovereignty that provide strong guarantees are being developed in TRUSTS. Then we have other technical aspects, such as that data governance is based on semantic technologies in TRUSTS, and that TRUSTS is designed for interoperability with other data marketplaces. However, in this talk, I'm going to focus not on these two aspects there, on the second and the third one, but mainly on the strategy for enabling and maintaining data sovereignty in TRUSTS. So yeah, before talking more about that, I think it's important to get a better understanding, or to get everybody here who's looking at these slides and at this video and at this web seminar on the same page when it comes to data sovereignty. And so what we see today in many ecosystems where the players have very different motivations, very different incentives, we see that there's two different ideas, or two different capabilities that companies want when they look at data sharing, and they want to link their data to other data sources without regret. They want to balance, on the one hand, data ownership, data security, and data value. And on the other hand, they want interoperability when they look at data exchange as a service. And so data sovereignty provides this balance, or provides the means to achieve this balance. And one way to think about data sovereignty is as the ability of a natural or legal person to exclusively and sovereignly decide concerning the usage of data as an economic asset. So that means, for instance, being in control of data, controlling who can buy the data from you, who can access the data, and being also in control of the value of the data. And this is something that is starting to become desirable for companies, for organizations, but which also in the near future will be much more on the radar of the individual consumer. And we see this already in Europe with the shift towards GDPR compliance as a topic that is of concern up to the highest levels of an organization. Okay, so how do we get there on a technical level? So one of the two foundations is the architecture that we have in TRUSTS, and this is built on the international data spaces. And I have a quick overview here. What's important is that the IDS is based on standards. It's an architecture for trusted, secure, and semantically interoperable data exchange across organizations. It has very strong opinions, or very strong anchoring of usage control, and I'm going to talk about that in the later slides. It's been developed since 2014 by Frauhofer, as basically Frauhofer as the entity in Germany with, you know, around 17 institutes. Yeah, and the IDSA that I have to thank again for hosting today's web seminar is also a very important player in the development of the IDS, of course. Now, the IDS as an architecture describes different ways to achieve data sovereignty. One of them, or some of them, are legal contracts, certification, but also different technical means. There are concepts which you might be familiar with, such as authentication, authorization. Then there are more complicated and involved technical means, such as usage policies. But all of these remain basically toothless tigers if you don't have a way to enforce them, and that's what's called usage enforcement. And in the IDS, usage enforcement is specified to a lot of detail, but a lot is also kept open, right? Because a lot of the aspects of usage enforcement depend on the particular organizations in the specific ecosystem which is implementing them. And that's where trust comes in, because some of the ways that usage enforcement is being envisaged in the vanilla IDS architecture don't provide enough guarantees, right? And this is in part the case because we have in our use cases the very specific view of the financial industry in focus. And this means that we need in parts higher guarantee. And that's why Trust adds cryptographic and statistic approaches to on top of the IDS in order to enable data sovereignty during processes that happen in Trust, such as data analytics or artificial intelligence. I'm going to talk now more about those approaches that Trust adds. And so these approaches, they are built on top of 3 building blocks. One is in the area of anonymization and assessment of the anonymization risk. I'm going to talk about each of these building blocks in the coming slides in more detail. But so one of them is anonymization as a state-of-the-art way to deal with private data. But then we have 2 building blocks that go beyond the state-of-the-art. One of them is secure multi-party computation, and this is a way for multiple parties to process an algorithm in a way that each of the parties can trust that the other parties are following the same algorithm correctly, and where all of the parties can trust the result to be correct. And then another building block that goes beyond state-of-the-art is homomorphic encryption, and this, to phrase it very simplistically, means that you can process encrypted data without decrypting it, right? And so then these building blocks, they provide the technical foundation for usage control that goes beyond what is specified right now in the IDS architecture. And they will be integrated in a framework that allows adapting algorithms that don't have any sort of privacy right now into algorithms that have the same functionality, but that preserve privacy and security. Okay, and so I want to just talk quickly in a little bit more detail about each of these 3 building blocks before I close this presentation. So when we talk about anonymization, then this is a central enabling technology to unlock the value in data that contains personal details. Because specifically when the data is sensitive or is from domains where there's extra protection on personal data, and the financial industry is one of those domains, then the unmodified personal data that would allow identifying a person cannot be shared. And there's different techniques to do anonymization. Some of you might be familiar with approaches such as k-anonymity or L-diversity anti-closeness. And the more contemporary approach is differential privacy, in which data sources gain plausible deniability by using statistical means to hide where data is coming from. So this works very well for releasing aggregate information. The techniques for getting there, the algorithms, are usually very efficient. However, this is not very suitable for releasing granular information, specifically when you want to provide something that's customized for an individual person. Then this is usually not the right way to do it. And there are several attacks that you can still use to learn leakage from such data. So then that means we have other technologies that help us with those weaknesses of anonymization. One of them is secure multi-party computation. Like I said, it allows multiple parties to compute an algorithm, and the statistical approaches or cryptographic approaches then provide intermediary representations of the results, and these can be used to prove that everybody is following the same protocol, and at the end of the protocol, the result is calculated by all the involved parties in the correct way. So this provides, this helps with the weaknesses of anonymization. In particular, the granularity of the data can be chosen on the level of an individual. However, what's at the current state of research important is that secure multi-party computation adds several orders of magnitude to the computation performance, right? So things are just much slower. However, for many jobs like batch processing, this is not an issue. And then finally, I want to talk about the third building block, that is homomorphic encryption. So that basically means that data is being encrypted, and then it is shared in an encrypted version with other parties in a way that doesn't allow those other parties to decrypt it. However, certain computation can still be done on that data without decrypting it. And so this is a very exciting goal for cryptographic research that has been in the sight of cryptographers since almost 30 decades and is now starting to enter mainstream information technology. Now, like I said, today is just a very quick overview, and there will be another web seminar scheduled for roughly spring next year, in which different parts of the technology that enables trust, including what I described today, will be part of that web seminar. Now then, on my last slide, I just want to close with some of the aspects in trust that are related to standardization. So several areas of the technologies that trust will be using and that trust will be further developing will be standardized, or trust will aim to contribute to standardization efforts. And these are concerned with data sharing, data marketplaces, and the interoperability of data marketplaces. So yeah, the stakeholders in trust that are working on these areas, they will be making recommendations to appropriate standardization bodies. And there will also be 2 dedicated workshops for representatives of standardization bodies that will be held as part of the Trust project. And I would expect those to be happening in the second half of the Trust project. So that would be starting in autumn of next year, in autumn of 2021. Okay, so this ends my presentation, and I'll be giving back the floor to the whole panel today. I believe we will be having a panel discussion now.
Exactly. Thank you, Benjamin, for sharing these insights into the technical architecture of trusts. And let me maybe just briefly, because as I said, I'm a non-technical guy, ask one question for you. It might sound stupid, but you mentioned these 3 technologies which could enforce data sovereignty and described it. What is the status quo of these technologies? Are they more on an experimental level, on an adapted research or applied research level, or are these technologies already in operational use? This would be maybe interesting not only for me.
Yes, this is a very good question. And I can also, I would expect most of our audience to be interested in the answer. So, so these technologies, they're very exciting. However, they're not in the mainstream. There are products being developed, and depending on the level of maturity that you need, a lot of these potential benefits, you can use them by buying inappropriate products. However, these products usually only open up a fraction of the potential, and the highest potential for disruptive change is coming out of research laboratories, research institutes right now. Yeah, let me see how else to describe that. So yeah, basically, in order to understand them, you need to have a very good grasp of the requirements to use them and of the computational resources to use them. And so basically, using products in this area allows you to assess the potential. However, to unlock the full potential, you usually need to work together with research institutes that have a detailed understanding, for instance, of the cryptographic or the statistical foundation of it. However, this potential is very high, and you can see that by realizing that almost all of the big players in IT, all of the hyperscalers, all of the big IT players in the Fortune 500 have their own dedicated teams working on these technologies. And I would expect them to be entering mainstream within the next 5 years.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much for this clear answer. And now, as I still do not see any questions in the question and answer section of GoToWebinar, this is also linked with encouraging everyone to use this function. I will just go on asking some questions to our panelists. I think we have maybe some 10 to 15 minutes time until the end of this live session. So maybe the first question is for Gianna or for Christos Roupas, because I could envisage that all these financial technologies or technologies for the financial industry are always or have to be seen in relation with regulations. And my question is, for instance, the tool or the module which was described by eBos, by Gianna, is it compliant in all other EU countries, or do we have also to differentiate it when it comes to the use or the uptake in different countries? Maybe one of you from eBos can answer this question.
Yes, Thorsten. Basically, as mentioned earlier in my presentation, the existing module, the existing system that we have, which assists basically the professionals to meet and comply with the anti-money laundering laws and regulations, it is fully compliant to the latest fourth anti-money laundering directive, which are basically the requested actions and procedures against money laundering. Came into force in June 17 for the EU. The system is also upgradable to support the future 5th and 6th EU directive as well. So basically the answer from us is yes, it is compliant with all EU country regulations. Because it's based on the EU directive and in the Cypriot market now, the current one. However, the system supports multiple jurisdictions, taking into consideration that the consultant will provide us the corresponding rules and regulations, so it can be locally customized for both within the EU and across the world.
Okay, thank you. Christos, Roupas, from your use case, is there also any, let's say, relation to the different country regulations, or is it not in the scope of your use case?
No, actually, Thorsten, we take into account, of course, all the different regulations that are valid for the countries that we operate. Of course, in order to do that, we follow a specific approach so that we are sure that we take into account the different legislation. We are following a privacy first best practice framework. So before trying to customize the AroTRON solution to different countries, and before, let's say, modify the code for the product to be applied, we take into account all the legal and the compliance issues with GDPR legislation, which might be, of course, more vertical, and other specific legislations that might be valid. So we believe that the best way to mitigate this type of legislation and privacy risk is not to create them at the first place. So we are trying to modify per country the code that will be, let's say, applied to the financial institutions in different environments and different countries.
Okay, thank you very much. It also came to my mind when listening to the presentation of Benjamin and the definition of data sovereignty as the ability of a legal person, so for instance of a company, to fully use data as an economic asset. Immediately came a question to my mind, which I want to ask George Kostopoulos from Piraeus Bank, because I could imagine that in the financial industry also another definition of data sovereignty is in place, which is mainly the definition that place matters, where data is saved. George, I could envisage that listening to you and while seeing that also your result or the result of your presentation leads to well, the explanation that a lot of data is not used, that this data sovereignty definition, which was done by Benjamin, could maybe help to unleash the full potential, because it is more or less well, seeing the different platforms and the different data sources as a peer-to-peer network in which data sovereignty is technically enforced. Would this also help to unleash the potential which you described?
This is Andrea speaking. So the question was asked to George, who has another appointment and therefore.
Okay, sorry. I just saw him in the call. Thank you very much, Andreas, for giving me the hint. Then maybe I can give this also to the colleagues from eBos and from Relational. If we envisage this this data sovereignty approach, which is foreseen here in the TRUSTS project, what is your perception from the view of, let's say, technology experts in the financial industry? Is this something which could help to unleash the potential of data in the industry? I don't know who wants to start. Please just go ahead if you have an answer to it.
Gianna, please go ahead if you like, or I can start, whatever you prefer. Okay.
Sure, you go first.
Okay. So yes, it is very important for us because it is very important for our clients. The financial institutions have, I believe, understand clearly the power that their data, the power that their data has, and they are starting to, and they try to find new ways of exploring the data that they have already in their hands. I believe that they want to satisfy their customers by giving them some value back from the data that they have, and also they in their internal environment. I think that this could help them in identifying new products, new financial products. So I would say that data sovereignty is very important for the internal and also the external environment of the financial institutions, and therefore for the companies that support them. In our case, although our product AroTRON, that is in discussion for today's project TRUST, is not does not have this type of capabilities. We believe that it is very important in other artificial intelligence products to take into account data sovereignty, specifically for the next best product procedure, and also to try to assist the financial institutions in their planning and on how that, and help them understand how they can get real value out of their data. So I think it is very important, and it is in our intention to start gathering more information about this matter and materialize it with a specific product. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Christos. Gianna, anything to add or to complement on this? You are muted. Yeah, now you are here.
I figured. Well, basically, with our use case, the anti-money laundering, to be compliant with anti-money laundering, it's basically in order to perform checks and provide realistic results that needs a realistic number of input and data related to basically know your customer. And since our data is considered personal and private, through TRUST will be anonymized and de-anonymized by utilizing a number of privacy-preserving technologies to keep them safe and not sharing them between different organizations, but only share them as encrypted results, basically.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, when we're discussing this issue, I also want to ask another question to Alexandra as a coordinator of the TRUSTS project, because Christos already mentioned that when applying these technologies, there is, of course, a potential for new products and for well, answering with these new products the requirements from customers. And maybe, Alexandra, I want to well, add one question, maybe in general terms speaking about the business potential of the TRUSTS project and the platform to be developed. Could you maybe share with us some of your expectations, or maybe already some findings on this issue?
Thank you very much, Thorsten, for the question. Indeed, TRUSTS is a very ambitious project, and of course it is worth considering that data markets are very complex ecosystems, because we bring together many stakeholders, many players, for example, brokers, data providers. So it's a very intricate system where we have to create incentives for all players, and of course to have customers, we need to ensure this trust and transparency, and of course protection of citizen and customer rights. So I would say that TRUSTS is very ambitious and has great potential in this domain. There are various angles that can be considered. For example, TRUSTS has the potential to lead the federatedness and in a way become the European champion when it comes to implementing a platform that can act as federator. Moreover, I would say that there are other opportunities and options. For example, TRUSTS can establish an industry association where we can, or co-found one, where we can work more with data providers or other players and actors in the data economy in Europe. And mainly, for example, such an initiative would have goals including driving standards or shaping policy decisions, and offering other incentives when it comes to financing technical work or acquiring funding for the development of related data market platforms. Moreover, TRUSTS is conceived as an innovation hub. That means that we are bringing together multidisciplinary partners and profiles, and acting as an innovation hub means mainly providing experimentation facilities in terms of infrastructure, platform, data sets, while at the same time establishing an innovation and data economy ecosystem, and of course providing brokerage of services and many other items. So at the moment in TRUSTS, we are really investigating all possible angles. Of course, the project is still young. We are still haven't finished our first year, and of course we have this vision, and we will try to achieve a lot in this domain. And I think we can present that in the upcoming webinars. And I'm really looking forward to what TRUSTS can achieve within its duration of 3 years.
Thank you, Alexandra, for this insight. Well, listening to you speaking, I think it's also worthwhile to point to your messages in the chat, because there is already a remarkable deliverable out of the TRUSTS project, which is dealing with legal issues. So please, for those of you who are interested in having a look, please visit the TRUSTS website, and the public deliverable, you can find it there. It is quite interesting because, of course, a lot of legal issues are tackled with this topic of data sovereignty, with GDPR, and a lot of unsolved questions are described there, which is always very interesting. So thank you, Alexandra.
Thank you. If I may add something, I think I would prefer that our ethics experts, our partner Kaulvan, can present their research, because they are leading the legal and ethical framework for TRUSTS. Thus, I think it is better that our colleagues from Louvain present their own work in an upcoming IDSA session instead of myself.
Yes, we will organize this, and please, everyone who's interested, stay tuned to the TRUSTS website where it will be announced. Okay, so I think we are short in time, only some 2 or 3 minutes left. I have one question which came to my mind. I think it was related to the input of you, Gianna, from eBos. Maybe you can briefly answer. You talked also about screening and about well, technologies which are relating activities to, for instance, media releases. And having now the US election in my mind, what is about fake news and things which are maybe not right? Is this also mentioned or foreseen in your tools?
Well, Thorsten, yeah. Screening is basically integrated with our data provider, the RDC, which is basically the largest global database of high-risk individuals and organizations, and assist to screen against, basically. Adverse media is the largest collection of negative news as in the industry everywhere, I believe. And every day, basically, approximately 2 million news articles and transcripts are published globally. They have daily media scanning, including newspapers, magazines, TV, radio transcripts, and etc. from over, as we said in the presentation earlier, 120,000 sources globally. They also have over 3 billion media articles scanned as well, and their largest collection of terrorists, fraudsters, over 700 governments, criminals, sex offenders, and influencers. Their adverse media is built for screening and is with high quality technology that provides the necessary levels of automation and matching, high filtering the negative news with carefully selected media sources globally, and finely tuned machine learning capabilities so that apply unique scores and codes to articles. This way, adverse media screening offers enhanced risk protection without basically increasing the work from their compliance departments.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think this is, yeah, we are running out of time. Therefore, I have to look a little bit on this. Okay, I think we are almost done, and maybe it is only just time for an announcement. So the first announcement is stay tuned towards the TRUST media channels or communication channels. Stay also tuned on the OpenDI channels, and then I want to announce another IDSA session. There is a data ecosystem day, which is organized at November 26 together with Frauhofer. So if you are interested, have a look and join. It's a full virtual event where also these topics of data markets, of data ecosystems are discussed, and it is co-organized by Frauhofer and International Data Spaces Association. Again, thank you very much for the panelists. Unfortunately, we didn't have many minutes to discuss things in depth, but I think your input was valuable and very interesting for all participants. Thank you very much for sharing your insights, and I wish everyone a great day and a great afternoon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.